all my fellow creepy little weirdos, and welcome back to Horror History and Hauntings podcast. I'm your host, Christina Spencer, and as always, I'm glad you've decided to spend your evening with me. Tonight, I'm honored to welcome an internationally recognized parapsychologist, researcher, author, educator, television personality. What does this woman not do? For decades, Dr. Terry-Brown has dedicated her career to exploring the fascinating intersection of science, conscious, consciousness that evidently my subconscious doesn't want to say, psychic phenomena, and the paranormal. She's the founder of Family Spirit International, co-founder of the Paranormal Research Organization of the Southeast, and has appeared on numerous television programs, including Repossessed on Hulu, My Ghost Story, The Ghost Inside My Child, and Haunted Hospitals. She is also the author of several books on parapsychology, psychic development, and haunted objects and extraordinary human experiences. And we'll talk about her new book, which sounds especially interesting to me in the interview. I'm excited to sit down with her tonight to learn more about her incredible journey and the work she's doing to advance the study of the unexplained. So, without further ado, please help me welcome Dr. Leitreanna Terry-Brown. Hey, Leah, welcome. Let me get it right. Hi.
Hey, there we are.
Technology, man, has been my enemy. You're welcome. All of it's true. All of it's true. So, how are you this evening? I know you are, uh, unbeknownst to me, in New Orleans right now.
Yes, I'm so excited to be in New Orleans, on Bourbon Street. Just had dinner. I had my first Louisiana style bowl of shrimp and grits. It was to die for, and a little bit of a jambalaya. Well, it was shrimp gumbo, excuse me, and it was wonderful.
It sounds good. I had to eat my rice bowl in between the podcast tonight. Like, she come on, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. I want to, thank you again for taking your time out because you're there for the New Orleans Paranormal and Horror Convention, correct?
Yes, I am so excited. It's this look that I've been waiting to get on the show to tell you about what's been happening. Okay, so I left Gettysburg, right?
Hmm.
And because I was doing Gettysburg Bash. I made it home and we had to wash clothes, jump in the car, and off we come here. And I was thinking, this is going to be fun. I'm a little tired, but that's okay. This is going to be great. And I got here and I was trying to figure out what this is supposed to be a haunted place, and I was in Gettysburg and I was getting all kinds of, well, we went to several battlegrounds and I tasted like a penny. I know that was blood.
Hmm.
And they were some soldiers there let me know that they actually have reunited with their families and they
Oh.
go there at the site of where the battle was so that they could meet other family members of other soldiers, the ones that they fought with.
Oh.
So they were
Okay.
having this big party. Some were coming, some were going, and they're not fighting anymore. So I mean, it was a very happy reunion, and I was so happy to be. I've got a video coming out. You'll see what I mean. It's a beautiful place, but I come here, whole different ball game. We pulled up, no big deal. I'm looking around. It's somewhere between Charleston and Memphis. I got that feeling, that jazz, um, eclectic, artistic vibe, a little bit of a bohemian jazz, it was just the feels all over. But then after I came into the hotel, we got everything in, the doors opened and a gush of wind came through. No, it was like a ball of wind. And it wasn't wind, and it hit me in the face, and it just felt like like a sheer scarf, like that. I
Hmm.
didn't feel a consciousness, but I felt a feminine energy.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, oh my God, I'm looking at my husband, did you feel that? I'm looking at my bestie, Gwen, and she's psychic also. We have different abilities. So it's really cool to be with
Hi,
her because Yeah, she says, "Hey, Gwen." She's waving. She's waiting. She's getting ready to go on a podcast of her own too. But anyway, we went to Felix restaurant, and it's open air, but they have air conditioning when you go in. Just beautiful place. It's very mafia, feeling. I was sitting there, and all of a sudden, it came rolling in again. And I was like, "Oh my God, do you feel that?" And people that had the ability to feel that did. But one of the guys felt like he was being choked. But all us girls felt something different. Very feminine energy. And then I was coming back to the hotel. I was hurrying. I was boogieing back to get to you. Happened again on the way in. And what is this? I think we're just going to have to stop and do a ghost box session and see.
Who she
I haven't been able to
is.
stop, but she is definitely wanting to make herself known. I have my haunted doll with me, Marley, and I came back to the room, and she's moved in her rocking chair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they had a doll convention that is packing up, leaving, and here we are going
Oh,
in. And I told Marley I'd take her in there, but they were tearing down, and I didn't want to. I didn't want them to think I was, trying to compare dolls or something because she's old.
right.
There's just something here, and I do feel a feminine energy, and I feel like a giggle. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna figure it out though. And when I figure it out, I'm gonna send you a message. We'll try this again, and I'll tell everybody what it was.
Sounds good. Because initially, when you was talking about like a feminine energy that smelled of like baby powder,
Baby powder, yes.
that smell in particularly always reminds me of my mother, because my mother used to wear that Avon every time she got out of the
Yes,
shower. She would
yes. The
cover
baby powder.
herself with that Avon baby powder stuff, and she always smelled like baby powder. And even
What
whenever,
it smells like that older Avon smell. I
mhm,
recognize it because my grandmother had that.
mhm,
And I was wondering about that too because I didn't smell that till I came in the room. Just right when I messaged you. And I
huh,
don't smell it right now, but
hmm, that's interesting.
she was saying hello.
Maybe she.
We'll see.
I've had other people tell me that when I'm talking with them, they'll get that. And I always think back that it's probably my mother, because she's the only like dominant female in my growing up life, besides my sister, and my sister's still alive. So that's what immediately when you said that, I was like, I wonder. And she's just popping in saying hi. She's a dental spirit, so she'll be
Well,
coming.
whoever this is feels a lot different than the one at when the hotel doors open. Very different because that one's overwhelmingly kind,
Hmm.
kind, but still whoosh.
Little much.
Yeah, this one is not like that. It's very sweet. So
My mom was
I'm
a very
overwhelmed.
soft spoken, loving person. Like never did anything. She never like she would get tipsy off of two wine coolers, and I only got to see her drink wine coolers until she was like in her 50s. Like she never drank, smoked cigarettes, cuss. Like she started to cuss near the end of her life. I think it was just being around us kids. But there was a time she called my dad a stubborn jackass because he wouldn't go to the
Uh-oh.
hospital, and I thought I was going to die of like shock because my mom said that. Like, and we know jackass really isn't a cuss word nowadays,
Yeah,
but
right.
the coming out of my mother's mouth, I was like, oh my god, Dad, you really pushed the limit on this one. But she was always very soft spoken and quiet, very
Yeah,
kind. Now,
that's wonderful.
for viewers meeting you for the very first time, can you describe who you are and what you're known for?
Yes. Well, my name is Leitreanna Brown, and I go by Lee. That's the easiest. And I'm known for having a family of psychics. Um, My father had a different type of ability. He worked with cryptids and animals. He was a herpetologist and mammologist. But my mom and grandmother and great grandmother, the ladies on that side of the family were psychics. And so the first book that I wrote was Family Spirits, Five Generations of the Supernatural. And it was about my great grandmother and grandmother's ghost hunts, and then we went back and investigated them our way with more modern equipment, and then I compared notes of what it was
Well,
like.
that's cool. That's very
Yeah.
cool. It's a very good way of connecting with your ancestry, I think, like to
Mhm.
be able to do something like that. Because I came from a very skeptical, my mom was very skeptical about that stuff, and she was never sensitive. So I never had that until like later on in life, talking to other relatives. They'd be like, oh yeah, like there's always been like a little bit of, you know, sixth sense type of stuff. And they would talk about how my grandmother was like that, but it caused her, um, because she didn't understand, I guess, what was going on. And I'm still trying to
Yeah.
figure it out. I don't know the depths of it or anything. And it's partly because it kind of scares me because my grandmother, unfortunately committed suicide. And
Oh, no.
so I wonder if not knowing
Mm.
and dealing with what she was dealing with on top of other things contributed to it. But I never knew anything was going on until I said something to an aunt one time, and she's like, "Oh yeah, my mom," you know, because she was the youngest of nine siblings, and my mom was the oldest. And she commented, well, she's one of the youngest. The youngest is the only boy in the family. But anyway, the she mentioned like, yeah, her mother had kind of premonition type things happen, and that we have kind of like a natural gut feeling to things. And
Yes.
then on my father's side, we're very in tune with animals. Like animals seem to come up to us in a weird way or like connect with us deeply. And I get very connected to animals deeply. So yeah, it's sad
Oh,
when
yeah, me too.
I'm a softie when it comes to animals, but it's very cool that you can connect with your ancestry that way and see, you
Oh,
know, and
thank
have
you.
that support, you know, to know that what's going on is not woohoo,
That's right.
you know, which is
Well,
awesome.
you have to be careful who you talk to about things. Some people aren't, people when people get scared, they have a tendency to be judgmental. And I'm not exactly sure why that is. I guess they're afraid of what will happen, if they believe it or they open their mind. So, being able to be validated at an early age, but also being taught to kind of keep it private. Let's keep this in the family. You can always talk to me about it, but other people may not be able to handle it. So, it created a very special family bond.
Mhm.
But the validation helped us go through some steps that we needed to in order to improve our skill. It takes seasoning. It takes being able to be able to calm your mind and then feel a feeling that's not necessarily yours. And okay, this is not mine. Therefore, I'm feeling someone else's feelings. There's no one around me. Show me some symbols. I need to know who you are. Speak to me. Um, talk to me where I can hear you or see you. Sometimes it's smells. Sometimes you can hear words. Sometimes it's symbols. Um,
Yeah, I can
you
kind of
know,
connect with that. Like I'm early in my like when I was younger, I was more open, and then a lot of stuff happened, and then I kind of closed myself off, and I'm trying to be more open now.
yeah,
But yeah, it's hard because for me, I get scared because
we all do.
I've seen good things and I've seen a lot of bad things, and it's like those bad things lingered in my mind, and it makes me so scared of like because you're opening yourself back up to that kind of like fear. So, is
Yeah,
there
when
any
you say you saw
advice?
something bad, do you mean a vision of something bad that was going to happen?
Yeah, I've had that happen a couple of times, and I've had um, different paranormal experiences that I kind of contribute in a way to being sensitive. And it was very traumatic for me. I mean, I was
Yeah,
attacked
I
at one
mean,
point. So it was
oh my
like,
God.
yeah. So,
Oh, Christina. Well, the first one. Let's talk about that one. So you had a feeling something bad was about to happen,
Hmm.
and then it did.
Hmm.
Was it to you or was it to a loved one?
No, well,
Okay.
when I was younger, I would have these pit of the stomach feelings. Like it's almost like riding in an elevator and it drops real quick.
It drops, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a feeling in my stomach that I'm like, and it's a sense of dread and panic that takes over where I'm like, okay,
I hate
something's
that feeling.
like something's
I know
gonna
exactly.
happen, and it's like, who is it? Who is it? And then I start going through people,
I
and
do that same thing. I do.
and then it's like, okay, do I call this person? Because then it's like, soon as I lock on the person, and this is my experience, when I lock on the person that I think that this is happening to or connected to, then I go through that. Should I call them? Are they going to think I'm crazy? Like, but then it's like sometimes it's such a hard push that I'm like, okay, I'm calling them. And one of my prime examples is when my mother was alive. I had this just dreadful feeling. And I'm like, Mom, go to the hospital. She's like, why? Because she didn't believe in stuff like this. And she's like, why? I said, I don't know, Mom. I can't explain it, but I feel like something's going to happen. And I think you need to be at the hospital. And she's like, honey, I go to the doctor in like 2 days. I'm feeling fine. I'm just watching basketball because she loved basketball. And
Oh,
she's like, I'm not going to go to the doctor just because you call me with some gut feeling that something's wrong. I'm like, okay, Mom, but if anything happens, like, don't play around with it. And she's like, okay, whatever. And she kind of laughed it off. She said, okay, Christina. And then the next day, I tried to call her and I couldn't get her on the phone. I was
uh-oh.
like, okay, well, maybe she's out with somebody or whatever. Later, she called me that night. She's like, I should have listened to you. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, I've been in the emergency room all day. I said, what happened,
Oh.
Mom? She said, I woke up the next morning and she kind of teased. She's like, I should kind of blame you because I felt fine the day before. And I'm like, but she said she got up out of bed like she normally does and she collapsed and she couldn't get back up. And she ended up having to go to the doctor. They found out she had a very enlarged heart. She had to walk with a walker and go through physical therapy because her body just kind of gave out on her. And they don't know exactly what happened. And she had to learn to walk again with a walker. And then eventually she got better. And with medication and things, it got better. But that was one of the times that I can remember. And I've had different stuff like that happen, like telling somebody, hey, I know you're going to be late for work and you'll get rode up, but wait 15 minutes. Like, don't go right now. So I've had that kind of stuff. And then to find out like where they would be at that time is like where a car accident had.
Yeah. Some calamity happened and they missed it. That's
Right.
right.
Like, because we lived on a huge mountain growing up, and everywhere you went, you had to go off the mountain. And I remember one time, one boyfriend, I'm like, I know you're going to get in trouble, but wait 15 minutes. He went to go down the mountain 15 minutes later, and they had it crossed off because a tractor and trailer jumped across the
Oh,
lane and plowed into the guardrail and went over the mountain, which is a common thing up there. But if he would have left at the time that he was going to, possible there was that possibility that, but there's always that, okay, that was a coincidence, that maybe there was not a connection there. So it's like you pass it off. And so I've had a couple things like that. And I haven't had one in a while, thank God. But I would get these overwhelming dreams of things before 9/11. I don't really talk about this because,
oh, nine
people
eleven. I
people
had,
don't,
oh,
but none of it made sense because I kept having dreams about fire and people falling from the sky is what I kept dreaming about. Is this just fire and people screaming and running and panic and people getting trampled, and none of it made sense because I'm like, what in the heck am I? Why am I dreaming about fire and people falling
right.
from the sky? It didn't make any sense. And then next thing I'd wake up and see, the sad part is one of my daughters, my oldest daughter, is sensitive too. And there's been times where we've had similar dreams,
Wow.
but, and she's woken up and told me about her dream and it confirmed my dream. if that makes sense. Like she had almost a very similar experience. And then we would sit and talk about it. So I'm trying to kind of break that. She's 29 now. So she, I've tried to make it okay to talk about, but like you said,
Yeah.
it's not something you can be blaring at the top of your lungs, hey,
No,
I have weird dreams that seem to
you
happen.
can always talk to me, and there's millions of us. There really are. Just on your Facebook wall, maybe not so much, because some people just are so, what's the word? Well, they're frightened. They're frightened of what they don't know, and sometimes they can be jealous.
Hmm.
But let me give you some thoughts real quick and see if this connects. If it doesn't, we'll I'll formulate another plan and another thought, and let's see if we can go there. So when you have those feelings of dread that come over you, that something's wrong, do you see any like a violent movement in your head, like cars rushing, or are you in a mall and people are running, or just chaos? Or do you actually see a violent
No,
somebody getting hit by a car?
usually when I get the gut feeling, um, I'm fully awake, and it's just a lingering thing of like fear and panic and like,
Yeah, foreboding. Yeah.
yeah. And for me, it's like I have to run through visually people in my head. Okay, does this feel like my daughters, for example? Does this feel like any of my daughters? And I'll go through and like picture them in my head. I know it sounds, talking
No,
about this always makes me feel weird and crazy, but and then I'll kind of pause at each one. No, no. And then it's like almost like, when you have a really strong thought, like an epiphany moment, and you get that little rush of, aha, you know what I mean? That's kind
the
of how,
zap. Yes. Yes,
yeah,
I know
the
it.
zap. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. It's like soon as I lock on to that person, I'm getting,
That's your
um,
confirmation, Christina. Yeah.
as soon as I get that like jolt, I'm like, okay. And then it's like, okay, what? And sometimes I feel it in the way that they would. Like, I've called people on the phone and be like, can you please just take some pain medication? And they're like, why? I'm like, my knee is hurt all day and I know it's not my knee. And I can't stop thinking about you today. So please go take your medication. She said, how did you know my knee was hurting me? I said, I don't know. Just please go take some medicine so I can feel better about it. Uh,
Well, I have something similar, just similar. And what I've told my family and friends that, okay, well, you just want to call and say that sometimes I get this feeling, and you're just going to have to go with it. And if I call you, it's because I love you, and I'll do roll call. So I'll call and say, hey, roll call. Everything okay? And then, yep, okay. So it's not you. Talk to you later. And then I'll go on to the. They know, and if I don't get it out, it's like it would just. It's like heartburn, but inside my heart. It just I got to get it out. And it hit me. I finally figured out what it was. It's part of being a healer.
really?
God is saying, Christina, you need to be praying. It's about to hit the fan out here. You don't need to know the whole story, but your prayers are needed. Start praying right away. Just say, because God inhabits our prayer. So when you get that notification, your phone tree has been activated. Those of us that have that ability is for a reason. Start praying. Whoever this is, whatever it is, however you want to pray. I claim the blood of Jesus. That this healing will take place, or this accident will be foiled.
Avoided.
Yes, that whatever it is that's trying to hurt this person, it will not work. Whatever it is. Or somebody that's supposed to do something that's afraid to. I'll say, give them the courage to do what they're supposed to do, because too much is riding on it. I can get those feelings now where I can kind of feel the way that it's coming to me, and I just stop and pray. I sometimes I write it out. Just write it in books, little
Yeah,
notebooks.
that's what my daughter has tried to get me to do. It's like, Mom, why don't you keep like a notebook by your bed if you ever have these dreams to like write it out so you have documentation, because there's no documentation except for us talking about
Right.
certain things. And I was like,
Well,
I don't know, because half the time when stuff like that happens, I feel like I'm going a little Lulu. It's like, okay,
right.
well, that happened. All
I
right.
um I use my voice recorder instead of writing it down because it's starting to happen and I'm getting feelings and I can't get it out because I'm getting a download feeling. Like I'm getting, this feeling in my head. Now I've got to try to express myself at the same time. It's just too much. So I would just turn the voice recorder on and say the date and the time, and this is what I feel. And then as it changes, I'll say, I'll examine myself. I have no reason to be angry right now. This is from someone else. Something is going to happen, and there's an injustice coming or something like that. And if I see any symbols, I write it down. And now I've got something I can lay my hand on and say, okay. And I pray to the Great Spirit. I just different names, same thing. Say, I was notified. And I'm putting my love out there, thank you for notifying me. And sometimes if your family and friends get a call from you and you're saying, hey, heads up, I need a roll call. I got this feeling. Okay, it's not you. Well, just know I love you enough to be thinking about you, you know. And it helps to put those kind of words to it, help people understand that you're praying. Or you can just say, well, I've got this feeling, just be in prayer with me, or send me good vibes, or whatever your words are. Sometimes it's light a candle, and the candle burning is basically your feeling of constant earnest of angst or whatever that this needs to be taken care of, and you can do something about it, because I think that's the scariest part, that you feel helpless to this thing and it feels like torture. Why am I being notified that this thing's going to happen and I'm seeing these things? Let me tell you about the dream 9/11 for me. Listen to this one. You will see how crazy I looked. First of all, I'm pregnant, and I was very pregnant. The doctor put me in the bed, and my son is very gifted spiritually as well. And while I was pregnant, I had part of his energy in me. So things that was normally something he may feel on his own, I was getting my own and his. So I was getting a double
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 whammy.
portion, double whammy. So I was laying down, and I had something wake me up, and I'd wake up sitting up in the bed, sweat, that whole drama feeling of, oh God, and my husband's like, babe, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? So I had a dream. What did you, and he knows enough to say, what did you dream? And I'm like, if I tell you, you're not going to be able to get back to sleep. But then if it happens again, he knows, okay, tell me what you dreamt.
Hmm.
So at the time, my mom and grandmother were alive, and so I could tell them it wasn't just him, you know. And we were having chicken pot pie sitting at the coffee kitchen table, drinking sweet tea and chatting. And all of us had a dream about um, something something falling. Like mom said she saw someone running and then just diving. And my grandmother said that she heard a humming and a crash. Hers was all auditory. And what I saw, I'm so embarrassed, this big birthday cake, and it had two candles on it, and the candles were huge. And the closer that I got to the cake, it had apples on it. And it had birthday candles, and then I saw something light them, and it looked like fleas jumping off the candles.
Oh,
And then as
wow.
I got closer and closer to the candles, and I could see windows, and I heard people screaming and splat, splat. And then I realized I was running, and there was pandemonium and dust, and it was more than dust. It had a taste, and it was in my eyes, it was in my nose and my mouth, and I was screaming, and I could feel the fear and the shock and not knowing where I'm supposed to go, and people are running past me, and I'm trying to figure out what happened. I didn't see it. I'm there after the fact. And finally I stopped somebody that's running hysterically, and they stopped and said, yes, may I help you? And I said, "Thank you for stopping. Why are we screaming?" And he said they knocked him down. They knocked them both down.
Oh,
And I
wow.
said, "Oh my gosh." And he said, "Run. If you don't die from this, you'll die later from the dust."
Hmm.
And then I said, "Thank you." He said, "You're welcome." And then he went right back into the moment and started screaming and running. And I woke up and said, "What was that?" And I kept dreaming it. Third day, my husband woke me up and said, "Baby, I know the answer to your dream." And he turned it on, and the two candles were the two towers.
Hmm.
And the fleas on the candles were people, and the apples on the cake was New York.
Right.
And I wish that I kept saying, I wish I called somebody. I wish I had done something to stop it. And Mama Jenny reminded me, I never told you you could stop it. I never said that you could stop it. You really need to discipline your mind. There's no way you could stop this. It was going to happen, but you were notified to pray. And you don't know how far your prayers went. And we were up late at night playing rummy, eating chicken pot pie, drinking sweet tea, and praying for people we didn't know, you know. But we
Right.
were all three getting those symbols, and we didn't know what it was, and it didn't matter. We just know, okay, we're up. We're here for the duration. Somebody tell us what's going on.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
so I,
my dreams are never that detailed.
oh, it was,
Like
I felt like
it's
a moron.
always it just felt like um it's a bunch of stuff like I don't know, it feels very torturous to me because there's nothing you can do. And it's like why
Mm-mm.
do you have to like experience these torturous things in your head if there's
Are you
nothing you could
seeing it or
do about
feeling
it?
it? Are you feeling it?
Um it depends. Like when it comes to the dreams, like I feel a sense like if it's something like that, like I feel the sadness and the panic and the fear.
Okay, so
It's
it's
like
coming
I'm a
through.
part of it, but
Yeah.
I'm also watching it happen, if that makes sense. So it's like I'm
Okay.
part of it, but I'm not. And it's kind of bits and pieces usually.
So
Um,
that means that your psychic ability as an empath is fighting your ability as a clairvoyant. You have both. And you're probably about to have a psychic awakening, spiritual awakening.
oh
That's
dear.
why you're getting both. Yeah. And so your empathic ability is pulling the feeling. Okay. First, it's big enough to where you get the notification.
Hmm.
Okay. And next is you're feeling it because your empathic skills are, your little kitty cat whiskers. You can feel, the emotions around you. And then the dread happens. And that's actually part of being able to remote view, if not astral.
Oh
Because
wow.
remember, you said that you were going to your family members and you were looking at them, visualizing them. Baby, you were seeing them.
Hmm.
Feels good. You feel that chill? That's your
Yeah.
confirmation. I got it down my legs. Yeah, that's it. So you're becoming extremely powerful. And the fact that you have family members that can do this with you, oh, what a wonderful gift. And if you ever need me, I'm at the ready. Just call me, send me a text and just say roll call.
Right. It's like, I had this weird dream and I need to talk to somebody that understands me.
Yeah.
That's not
And
my daughter that I sometimes traumatize.
well, I understand that feeling. But when you pull your emotions out and say this can't be for me, then it's like, oh, great, great. Who's it for? And how do I tell them? So, if it's a situation where you can put it together and say, hey, hold on a minute, I got a bad feeling about this, then do that. But if it's something where you just can't put your finger on it, that's okay.
Well,
Give it to
that's
God.
usually with the big dreams, is what I call them. The big is it doesn't make sense at the time, and
No, it never does.
no matter how much I try to figure it out because I feel that impending dread, I know deep down, I'll know what it is after the fact, but at the time, like, and I've tried to explain that to my daughter. It's like, I know it's torturous because you know something's going to happen and there's nothing you can really do about it. But that really you wouldn't even know what it was until after it happens anyway. So to kind of, you
Well,
know,
now that you know, okay, I'm getting the notification here. I'm feeling it. All right, something big's coming. I can't tell what it is yet. Now you're getting ready to feel that disconnect with the roller coaster drop, and that means okay, I've got to center myself. And now I'm going to feel emotions. Okay, this is you're evaluating.
mhm,
Okay, this means it's going to be this level of concern for people or danger. And then after that, go ahead and let your body go to these people that are your family and your friends and look in with them. If there's somebody you feel you need to talk to, do it. Or if nothing else, just let them know, hey, I'm just checking in. You doing all right today? Okay, well, I'm just doing a roll call. Love you. And just giggle and go on. But you'd be surprised, people just finding out somebody cares,
mhm,
how good that feels. And now that you know it's not your emotion, it's just you getting sucked into the that wave of energy, like that ball of energy that came through the hotel. It's
mhm.
trying to tell me something, but I haven't been able to calm my mind enough to receive it yet. So there's stages to that.
Yeah, that's what I think I need to learn. Because, like, when I go into like a location, I can always tell immediately if it's haunted or not. And the only way that I tell is it to me, and I know it's a weird analogy, but it's like I've walked into a spider web and I can feel
Yeah,
like, the web like pushing, like I'm pushing through it, and I can kind of feel that energy. And I'm like, yeah, okay, something's here. Um and I can pinpoint like certain things about it. But and I'm learning a little bit more on how to open myself up and actually talk about what I'm feeling. The first time I've done it was actually at Cabinet 360 when I did an investigation. That was my first public investigation. And I didn't
wow,
film it
yeah.
or anything because I was like, okay, I'm exploring this without giving me too much detail. I want to walk around and just talk. And I kind of explained like what I was feeling and stuff. And it was kind of interesting because I hit on some things that I really shouldn't have been able or knew I didn't know anything about because I knew there was a death on the property. I know it had Civil War backgrounds, stuff like that. But I was able to hit on some stuff that, you know, kind of personal to the property. So it was kind of a little bit of a confirmation, and I've had like some weird occurrences like that. But I
Way to
have a lot of
go.
I have a lot of fear associated with it for some reason. Um, I guess because I can't explain it, and I'm a very intellectual person. I like to have
Yes, you
reasons for
are.
things.
Very analytical and what I find interesting is that you're an empath, but you're analytical.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I've ignored the chat. Look at this. Howie says, "Well, well, well. Hello, Miss Leitreanna, CEO of the RNN."
Oh, goodness. Hello. How are you?
He said it 3 times. Like he's like, "Hey, you're
He
not
wanted to
paying
make
attention to
sure
your chat. You're too focused on the conversation. Make sure you say that." And he said, "How are you, love?"
we're doing good, thank you.
Holy crap, Chris! I hear your accent snicker. Sorry, it comes out like, and it depends on who I'm talking to too. It kind of, and I'm tired, so
Yeah,
yeah, the twang comes out when I'm tired.
I
But
got a twang. I got a twang. There's two words that keep coming to my head from you. Okay, I'm getting, it's not mountain. It's like Mountain, Mount something. And then there's another one, and I'm trying to. It's not yourself or myself. It's like self, like is like. And I don't know what those two mean, but it's
Well, the mountain could be two different things. We call where we live here the mountain or the hill, but it's I've born and well, I wasn't born, but I was raised in the Appalachian Mountains, and
Okay.
the town that I grew up in was called Mount Storm. So,
Oh,
and I currently still live in the Appalachian Mountains. It's just in a different,
cool.
about 45 minutes away from my hometown.
Cool. Okay. Well, at least that one made sense.
That's me, he said. And then he said Rocky Mount, which he must be sensing
Maybe
something I'm
he's
not.
okay. Maybe that's where he's at. Maybe. And then the other one was self, yourself, myself, his self, himself. But I had the self.
It's probably because I have a lot of self issues, self confidence issues, self esteem issues, self um, realization sometimes about
Maybe
things.
that's it. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, a
Well,
lot
you're
of
very
fear.
gifted.
Well, thank you. I mean, like I said, I'm still leery about terminology and talking about it that much because like I'm still trying to figure it out to an extent. But I have had a lot of weird things. I've had dreams about people that I don't know anything about. Um, Before we moved to the cabin here, we lived in a house in Kaiser, West Virginia. And I'm not going to give too specifics on the house, but there was a lady that lived there that owned the house before the current owner. Um, and she, I think, came to visit me right
Okay.
after she passed because right beside the house, literally, there was a yard and a funeral home and a crematorium. And
Oh,
unbeknownst, and I had this weird dream about a lady standing over my bed, and she was so upset. And she walked me through the house how the house should be, and like she showed me room to room the house, and like the front room had a chair and had a bookcase and like what was in the rooms. There was wallpaper, this green wallpaper in the bathroom that she was so upset that somebody took down. Like there were certain things. She took me out in the backyard and she's like, "Where's the trellis?" Like specific things about the home.
oh my.
And she wanted to, I guess, pop in because she loved this home and that was like a long term home for her. And she was
Oh,
very upset at the changes that were made at the house. And she was like, "Well, she said there was a comment about life must move on or something like that, and then she kind of went away. And I was talking about this dream. I said my roommates, my boyfriend, his brother, and his brother's fiance. And I was like, this is going to sound weird, but I had this dream about this little old lady. And I'm like, she walked me through the house, but the whole house looked different. And I'm like, and you won't believe it, the coffee table that was in the office at the time, I said that was in the front room. And I'm like, and I was describing the rooms as it was. And my roommate, Heather, she's like, do you ever think that was Miss Davis? I'm like, who's Miss Davis? I'm like, she's the lady that had this house before the guy that owns it now. And she got older and it was a multiple story home. So she had to be moved to a facility to be taken care of. But she was the last owner before him. And she had it for years. And I was describing the home and stuff. And she's like, yeah, that kind of sounds like it could be Miss Davis. Because I was talking about, for some reason, I kept hearing pianos, like piano music and people playing the piano. It turned out she was a piano teacher and she would play the piano at church across the street from the
oh,
house.
how nice.
And she seemed like a super sweet lady, but I didn't know 2 weeks prior to me having the dream she passed away and they had the funeral next door. And because we looked up, because we didn't know if Miss Davis was still alive or not. So we looked it up because everybody got curious. They're like, she died 2 weeks ago. She's like,
Wow.
and they just had her funeral next door. And I was like, are you serious? And then we pulled up the the Zillow listing. She's like,
Yeah.
let's pull up the Zillow of the house because the last time it was up on Zillow was when she owned it before the guy that owns it
Right.
now bought it. And we're flipping through the pictures, and I'm like, look, I can't look at this anymore. And they're like, why? I'm like, that scares the shit out of me. And they're like, what do you mean? And they're like, and then Heather was flipping through it. She goes, oh my God, the green wallpaper was in the bathroom that they tore down. There was a trellis in the backyard. There was, she set up the front room upstairs. It's like a reading room. That's where she would go to read because it had the best light.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
and she showed, and there was certain things like where the different pieces of furniture was that have been moved around because there was a lot of furniture that she left behind when she moved out. So, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that some of the furniture there was original. And I was like, it's kind of weird because, like, in the dream, the kitchen table was on a different wall and the fridge was on this wall. And it's like, it's weird. Like, because I was just talking because it was a dream that bothered me. So I don't know if Miss Davis came to visit me that night, but it was really
Well,
weird
maybe
and
you
it
went
freaked
to
me
visit
out.
her. Because if you're able to remote view, why wouldn't you be able to remote view in the past
No, that's true. She was
or the
walking me through
future?
that house, man. She was not tickled.
Like, look here, you've changed everything, or they've changed it, or whatever. Yeah, they don't like it when you move stuff, do they?
No. How I said he's
Okay.
in the Rocky Mountain, so that maybe
All
that's
right.
the
Well, maybe
unit.
that's, yeah,
But yeah, that was a, and that happened what, 2 years ago, I think, a year or two ago. Yeah, and
that
I
is
was
a
like,
good one.
I'm like, that gives me cold chills, and I don't want to talk about it anymore.
It's like, wow, that one's right on target.
Yeah, that was a little too close for me because I'm like, there's no way I didn't know about Miss Davis ahead of time. Didn't know anything about the house beforehand. Like, didn't know it was on Zillow. Never thought to even look up Zillow, And it was like, it was too many things. And it scared
Too
the
many details.
crap out of me.
Yeah.
I said, hey, got you shared out. Thank you,
Thank you so
T.
much.
But yeah, those are the things like it scares me because I'm like, okay, am I turning into a stark raving loon or what's going on? And
No, you're just learning to manage more than one psychic gift.
I have to adjust to that thought. Put it that
That's a lot to chew on,
way.
but that's it.
Yeah, that's kind of, but it would explain some of the stuff my daughter was able to do at a young age. And she just seemed a lot more sensitive than I was. But it could be she's just a lot more open because I always accepted it. So I
See,
don't,
you didn't stop it. You didn't stop it. So therefore she didn't build up a defense, an auto
mhm.
defense.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Because I get scared. Because that's part of the reason I haven't got my PhD done. Because the next course is in opening your consciousness and your psychic perceptions. And I've sat on this class for, I know, over a year because I'm like, this stuff scares me, and I don't
It's a lot.
like to. So I'm like, I'll do it. I'll do tomorrow. We'll open our psychic channels tomorrow. We're not doing that today. No, and that's what's happened for the past year and a half. And why I haven't finished my PhD. There's an
What's
update.
what school is it?
It's I can't remember it's IMHS Metaphysics Institute. And I've already got my
Okay.
bachelor's degree. I'm working on my master's, but this is the one class that I've just, and I can't move on to any other classes
I
until I finish
understand.
that one. So,
When you feel it, it'll be the right timing.
oh, that's
It
what
will.
everybody keeps. Now's the time, but I'm just like, no, my fear. I just have a fear because, like I said, I've had some bad things happen too, and it's like I don't like the bad stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
So there's a fear associated to it. But getting back on the parapsychology, now everybody seems to have a different definition of parapsychology. What is yours?
My definition of parapsychology is the study of the eternal soul and energy itself in relation to our existence. I know that seems a little different than the others,
Mm-hmm.
but study of different types of hauntings automatically assumes that you buy into the idea that our souls are eternal and that our souls are made of energy. A lot of people think that, okay, well, we're made of energy, but when we die, we dissipate.
Hmm.
You might be a drop of rain or whatever. And I say no, that we still keep our consciousness. So therefore, I could go down a great big rabbit hole with that. But I've been studying the existence of the soul. What is the evidence of the eternal soul? And you can go back in the 70s to Russia and look at some of the videos and evidence of the soul, or study near-death experiences and how people have described their death, um, and what happened and how they came back.
Hmm.
There's been several people that have had things happen in that manner and have been able to tell people, look, this is the music you had playing in there while you were doing surgery on me when you had to stop my heart.
Hmm.
This is what you were doing. This is who was doing what. And you didn't expect this or you thought that. And, it's shocking because there's no way that people could have known this, because technically they were dead, you know.
Right.
So if you study those things, you can see that the eternal soul does exist. And then,
Yeah.
of course, if you go into quantum physics and study energy itself, how it can't be created or destroyed, only changed, and you talk about dimensions and dimensional theories of how many different realms exist at the same time.
Hmm.
Now we're talking about interdimensional beings. I mean,
Hmm.
how many times have we argued about an orb? And
Right.
oh, it's just a bug. It's a bug. Oh no, it's a lightning bug. Oh, it's a piece of
Dust
fuzz.
debris.
Oh no, it was a UFO. It's flying and it's unidentified. And now we see all these different UFO sightings that are being released by the Department of War. I mean, there's so many things we have not digested mentally.
Yeah, and I
And
agree
a
with
lot of
everything that you had to say. Like, I feel the same, that there is a certain degree of um, disconnect with parapsychology, or the definition, because, like, most of the time how I explain it when people ask, well, what's a parapsychologist, is somebody that explores things that can't be explained by science. And I just leave it at that, because, like we discussed, I'm very analytical, and I'm a full believer that, in physics, matter and energy does
yes.
not dissipate, it just becomes something else. So, the only thing that I can't align with that thought, and I'd like to get your interpretation on, as as a fellow parapsychologist, is the and when you're talking about that matter only changes, it doesn't dissipate. How do we explain, because I get asked this and I'm like, that's a fascinating question. How do we explain the influx in humans, if, like, a spirit only gets, you know basically recycled into another being? How can we have a growth in population on our planet?
So I believe that, gosh, as many people has lived and died, everything's haunted. You know, if you can't pick up on something that's nearby, you're not looking. You're not really trying. And I believe that we have an influx a lots of times because, yes, that is right, Diana. The paranormal, uh, parallel
Parallel
dimensions
dimensions are
are
real.
real. I'm getting my tongue tangled up,
They
but
do exist
they do exist, and I do.
through a darkness of
Okay,
the soul. I just wanted to make
what
sure I got
I
those.
yes, no problem. What I feel about influx of people being born when we have these baby booms, I do believe that certain people are born at certain times for a reason. Um, if you look at war, there's a lot of boys born during wartime.
Hmm.
And there's let me see if I can explain this. If you look at George C. Scott played Patton, General Patton.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at his story, it is absolutely unbelievable. Not only was he a military genius, um, he could walk into an arena of ancient war and never been there before, and he could tell you who came in from the north and who came from the south and in what time of the day it happened. And oh my gosh, um, there's no other way to explain it other than he just knew
He
he was
was
there.
he was like a military strategist that could like pick up on what military transactions happen at a specific location is what it sounds like.
Yes, I mean, he had memories of ancient Greece, ancient Rome, medieval Europe, Napoleonic wars. It's unbelievable what he could see just walking, like I said, walking into an ancient war arena. And he can explain his past lives, things that he remembered in detail. He had a lot of historians convinced there is no such thing as deja vu, that type of thing. So, if, of course, this means that we have to believe in fate, and that's a big step. But if he was called back as a warrior
Mm-hmm.
to do something, because he was taken out just as soon as his job was done with the war, he died right away.
Mm-hmm.
So, a man like that, and a man like what my son was, he was reincarnated. And it took us forever to find out who he had been. It took years, and we had to have a translator to read a book from Russia. It was quite the adventure. But if you look at the type of person they were previously, how they lived and died, they really didn't get a chance. They didn't get a chance to live their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I really see that if we believe that God is a loving and just God, would they not get a chance again? People that live to see maybe 10, 12, 9 years old, completely innocent, and they're gone before they ever had a chance. Their lives meant something to the people that gave birth to them, and that was their family and their friends, but they didn't get a chance to
Well, I'm a
learn whatever it
firm.
was.
Yeah, that was the point that I was going to make is like I feel like if we live again, which I'm a believer in reincarnation,
I
that
am too.
every time that we reincarnate, it's for a reason or a lesson. Because that's the only thing that I could rectify in my mind how there's so much good and bad in the world is that you have to, in order to ascend to whatever's beyond this cycle, you have to basically experience everything is to experience and learn from before you can ascend to beyond whatever this repetitive uh, cycle reincarnation is. Um, yeah, Dana says she's like, yeah, it's reincarnation, yes, because I think that there's something to be learned from. And I always joke, I'm like, man, I must have been a bad person in a previous life because I've had a rough one on this one. It's like the
Mine's
karmatic
been kind,
balance need to work itself
mine's
out or
been
something.
kind of rough too. Yeah, but my grandmother used to, yeah, wounded warrior. That's true. That's what, yeah, that explains a lot. But my son had been a Russian partisan soldier, the early part of World War II. He told me his name was Peter, like Peter, but not Peter. And he didn't want me to call him his name anymore. He wanted to be Peter.
Oh, wow.
And he had jumped out of a plane with a pillow over his head. Now, obviously that's a parachute.
Parachute.
And during that time of war, they were square.
Hmm.
Okay. So he talked about the star on the plane, and there for a little bit I thought he was German, and I was like, uh-oh. But he turned out to be Russian because he could understand Russian. He could understand German too.
Oh, wow.
But I'm talking toddler. We were watching something on the History Channel in the kitchen while had been eating. We had the TV on, and he goes down the hallway and he's listening and watching, and it's Hitler, and he's making movements like this. And Elijah laughs and laughs, and I said, "Oh no, nothing about that man's funny." He said, "Oh no, he thinks he's pretty." And he goes down the hallway, and then here comes the translation. He was making a joke about being pretty.
Oh, wow.
I almost fell out of my chair.
I would
The whole
too.
Yes, the whole point about the things that not only that, but he saw soldiers that had been in war with him previously. And he was saying goodbye to them because they had been chosen to come back. So
Oh,
there's a whole thing. If you'd like to see a portion of it, you can go to Amazon Prime and watch Ghost Inside My Child, episode 1, season 1. He was the concept child for the show, one of them. But the whole point of telling you that was because um,
everything they put in
every
fictional books are real. I think to a certain
okay.
extent, yeah.
Well, his name was Colonel Leonid Petrovsky, and he was a pilot, and he was fighting the Nazis. And when the Russian Air Force was defeated and they hid the remaining airplanes in the mountains, they started smuggling children and Jews and gypsies out of Russia to prevent the Nazis from doing experiments on them and capturing them. So that was what he did. And he got shot in the leg. He told me when he was a kid that he had been shot. And I said, "Baby, you haven't
Man,
been to the doctor to get a shot?" He said, "No, bang, bang." And as he would crawl, he would pull his leg behind it. It was a mess. My brain was just fried trying to figure all this out. And
yeah, I
usually
can't imagine.
before he'd go to sleep at night, he'd have those memories. It would just come back. It took a lot of strength and courage to face that. But I realized that Colonel Leno Petrovsky gave his whole life to protect children and people that were helpless to the regime that meant nothing but death to them. If
Hmm.
anybody deserved to come back, by goodness, it was him.
Yeah.
And my son's married, and he's going back to school. He's got one college degree, working on another, and he's happy. He was able to achieve the things he never could have as a colonel. So, yeah, I can buy into it that I can see where the justice was. He got a chance to
Hmm.
come back and have a life that was taken from him.
Right.
So, and we're not here for our comfort. We're here to learn. We're here to grow and be stronger.
Hmm.
So,
That's what I hold on to a lot because like when times are hard and things get rough, I always try to think like, what lesson should I learn from this? Like, what am I supposed to learn so I don't have to go through this again? Because I'm a firm
right.
believer in that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Um, as you learn more about getting those foreboding feelings and dealing with getting the energy back out to either pray or meditate or to light a candle and lift up whomever and whatever's coming, um, it'll make better sense later as you go through things. Oh, I went through that moment to prepare me for this. Oh, I went through that moment. Now I have this experience, and I can make a better decision now. And that's when you start coming full circle. So have fun with that. It's going to be fun.
she's
It's
like,
going to be
yes,
fun.
you're going to have an existential crisis, but it's okay. It's going to be
It
fun.
will. You've got, you've got, you've got friends. I'm right here if you need me, and there's plenty of us. And if nothing else, we'll sit and talk about it. Put on a pot of tea or something. We can sit here and video chat anytime.
Well, that's why I love you, Lee.
Thank you. I love you too.
I hate,
The
I
hour
hate.
has flown.
That's
Look
what
at
I was gonna
this.
say. I was like, we didn't even get to have like a quarter of my questions or anything because we got off topic. But that's okay.
Well,
That's how
it
live
needed to
podcasting
happen.
becomes.
Yes. Well, all of you watching, please go on Amazon and look at my newest book. Okay, so I've been writing books about psychic kids, your psychic abilities, Parapsychology 101, um, haunted objects. Let's see, Victorian ghost files between heaven and ectoplasm. That was fun because I talk about what it was like studying, going through the Victorian, trying to live through the Victorian era again from a distance. And then looking at how they were able to rip people off, ectoplasm and how they would do that photography, trick photography. But
And the
anyway, you can,
table tilting
yeah, that's
with
fun.
the leg.
I'm all, I want to do that. But so, those are fun books, but this one was just straight fun.
Hmm.
Okay, it's called The Bewitched Book of Boo Bites. And my mom wrote children's books, and we would pretend to have a little group of my stuffed animals, and they would take me through Halloween Town, and we'd get all the cookbooks. My grandmother would read a cookbook like it was a book, cover to cover. And so we would make these different recipes and have our little my little stuffed animal, and we would go to Halloween Town. And I said, I'm going to do this. So I have got a book of appetizers and desserts. And the stories are there's a grandmother and mom and dad and kids and a little cat named Mr. Whiskers. And they go to these little characters from Halloween Town. My goal is to get these little characters made up. So when you buy the book, you can get the apron and you can get Mr.
Aw.
Whiskers and you can, because there's Webster, the friendly spider, there's Boo, the friendly ghost, there's Coral, she's like a mermaid, but she's a river sprite. There's Pip, and he's a pumpkin sprite. So, I mean, I've tried to mix it up a little bit, but every time you go somewhere with them, you make your recipe, you get your charm, and then after you get all the charms together, they glow, and it takes you to the Halloween party.
Aw.
There's activities, there's, find this image. And this could be an adult coloring book. It doesn't have to be just for kids, but it's all fun and fantasy. And I'm hoping that I've created a Halloween tradition because Halloween memories are like all other holiday memories. They're best when they're with your family and people you love, spending
Amen
time
on
together.
that. Yeah, that's definitely a book that I would be interested in, especially with grandkids now. And like
Oh,
Halloween's our
yeah.
favorite holiday, my daughter and myself, and
Oh,
with
well, good.
grandkids now. So,
Yeah, try the bat wings. They're really good. It's chicken wings, and you use barbecue sauce with a little bit of blackberry jam so that it makes it look darker.
ooh,
It's
yeah, like
really good.
that sounds really good.
You'll like it.
So
But
yeah,
it's
and
finally
that
on
came out
Amazon
today.
today.
So it's an exclusive. So check out that book on Amazon. Um, I'm trying to figure out where I was because we didn't get to ask all the questions here. It's like, but I want to first off thank you, Lee, for being on.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for the invite. I'll come anytime.
Awesome. We'll have to do it again, most definitely. Yeah, I just want to say thanks for joining us tonight, for sharing your knowledge, your experience, and your passion for the study of the consciousness and the paranormal. It's truly been a pleasure having you on the show. And thank you to
Thank you.
everyone who has joined us in this live evening. Whether you're a longtime believer, a healthy skeptic, or simply someone who enjoys exploring life's greatest mysteries, we appreciate you spending part of your evening with us tonight. If you enjoyed tonight's conversation, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves horror history and hauntings and all things paranormal. It really does help the channel grow and allows us to continue bringing you incredible guests and fascinating conversations like this one. Be sure to check in the description below for information on where you can find Dr. Lee's books, learn more about her work, pick up on her books, and I know you'll want to continue exploring everything she has to offer, including her own podcast. Until next time, remember to stay curious, keep asking questions, and never stop exploring the unknown. I am Christina, and this has been Horror History and Hauntings Podcast. As always, thank you for watching. Good night and sweet dreams. Bye
Sweet
bye.
dreams. I